All right, welcome back to the Submission Mindset. I hope everyone is doing well out there. We had some technical difficulties this morning, getting off to a rough start, and I almost drank Nahum's coffee, but I have my own right here. How we doing, Nahum?
What's up, everyone? Welcome back. I'm excited. Coffeeed up, caffeinated.
Same.
Ready to roll on episode number 2.
Yeah, so first episode, we introduced ourselves and talked a little bit about our jiu-jitsu journeys, but today we wanted to shift focus and talk about competition. You know, the podcast, we're really trying to connect just our real life experiences with jiu-jitsu and kind of showing how jiu-jitsu helps prepare you for life. And obviously competition is the next level of jiu-jitsu training. And you just had a tournament this last weekend. We're literally just 4 days away from that competition. So we wanted to check in with you and have you kind of share with us just how the competition went. And then we could kind of get into some of the particulars about how you prepare, how you deal with the nerves, just all the things that come with competing.
Yeah, of course. You know, one of the things that we talked about last time is that jiu-jitsu is for everyone, for the person that just wants to come in, get a good workout, as well as for the person that wants to compete and just push themselves. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. I just want to push myself athletically, mentally, physically, as much as I can in my jiu-jitsu journey. And yeah, man, we just came back from competing in JJWL, their Pacific Cup. I think it's number 6, I believe. And it went good. I took 3rd place. I could have done better, obviously, because we didn't get the gold. But I fought for the 3rd place. Tough. You know, I had 3 really competitive matches. I lost my first one by points, won my second one by 1 point, and then the third one ended up being referee's decision. So in the IBJJF league, it would have been like if I won by an advantage, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, every single match was just really intense. The level of competition out there, I believe, was just on a different level. I'm happy that I did my best, but yeah, man, the competitor is very tough.
Man, that's something I've noticed, and we were talking about this as we were getting ready to do the show, about how competition now at the blue belt level, especially adult division, it's just so good. These competitors are just so well skilled, and I feel like the average blue belt today in adult is on a purple belt level. Even some of them are close to like a brown belt level of what I was competing against 20 years ago when I was a blue belt. And that's something I've noticed about jiu-jitsu is just how many people are starting to train now. But man, the competition part of it is just really, it's definitely jumped up a lot. And going back to your matches, every single match you had was tough. I know you lost your first match. And I always tell people when you look at your opponent, you just never know the first opponent, right, that you're going to get. Sometimes you might get a match that you're able to get past really easily. And then sometimes, man, you get one of the best guys in the division. Yeah. And that's what you went up. The guy that you went against was really, really good, very skilled. So maybe let's just talk about the first match and just what we were thinking and just how you were kind of preparing going into that. And then, of course, the results.
Yeah. So, actually, before the first match, you know, because I got the bye for that first round, so we got to watch the guy that took first place compete against someone else, and just the level of intensity that our bracket started off at, I was like, whoa, okay. So I gotta really I can't slow start in this one. I gotta really be on my A game. And
I noticed that too, man. I was surprised about the intensity.
Yeah.
It was next level. These guys were moving fast, and you can tell they're using a lot of power and a lot of speed. And I was even thinking the same thing. I was like, man, that's why I think I told you too. I was like, look, these guys they're really getting after it.
Yeah. And and I compete at 195, so it's 195 and under, and it's a little slower of a bracket, but not this one. Not usually in the weight class, they're strong and athletic, but they're not really that fast as this go around. So I was
it's true. That's usually how it works. As the weight classes get a little bit heavier, the pace it gets slower. But it didn't seem like that for these
Uh-uh.
195 pounders.
Yeah,
They were freaking
they were.
flying around. And I know your pace that you train with every day at the gym, it's very methodical, and you have intention behind what
Hmm.
you're doing. But man, these tournaments now, these guys are just going for it.
Yeah. So I was watching that, and that kind of changed my approach a little bit. So I knew I was gonna have to come out a little stronger. Can be sleepy, but I came out. The guy was taller than me, and sometimes those really big dudes, you never really know. Sometimes they feel weak because the weight's distributed throughout their entire lanky
Hmm.
body. But this guy felt really real strong.
And he looked like a little scrawny dude.
Yeah.
You can't tell with jujitsu. And I was telling one of our teammates that was there watching that you might see somebody that looks really thin and maybe not in the best of shape,
Mhm.
and they could be like super strong. And then you look at somebody who's like looks like they're pretty fit, and maybe they don't feel as strong.
Yeah, that's true.
So he was
Yeah,
strong.
he felt real strong. In the stand up, right? He was controlled. Luckily, he didn't come out 100 miles per hour, but he felt real strong. I attempted my takedown a couple times before I actually got him down. So that was one thing that I was very happy about because from the get go, I wanted to get the takedown. I didn't want to end up on top. I mean, on the bottom from the start, right? So that cross collar, we've been drilling it so much, and I've had issues with like the setup in the past. Um, but I rewatched the video, and that little angle change and that step that we always practice, like that's how I set it up, and I ended up getting it on like probably like was it the third attempt.
Yeah, it was clean.
Yeah,
It was a clean takedown.
and so I was very happy as it was happening. I was like, oh yes, let's go, and I ended up in this closed guard, and I rewatched the video, and I did like such a rookie mistake because we ended up in out of bounds. He reset us in the middle, and we started in this close guard, and immediately I dropped my posture. I was like, oh my god! Like when I rewatched it, I was like, what the heck were you thinking? I just didn't even think about it. I instantly dropped my posture to base up instead of like posturing up, and he ended up having a good close guard. He swept
Had a
me.
very good close
He
guard
swept me, and
with a
then
hip bump. He got
yeah.
you with a hip bump. Just classic hip bump. He timed it really well. It's funny because we were just working the hip bump, and he started off with the cross sleeve grip. He was kind of pulling it across this way, and as you kind of went back, he let go of that. And he came up, and it was just very well timed,
Yeah.
time sweep. But yeah, your posture was you did lower your posture.
Yeah.
He caught you, and that's the thing is that one thing about I've noticed about competition, and maybe you can speak to this, is about how the little mistakes that you make, they could have major consequences in
Oh,
competition.
definitely.
The gym, when you're training, you make a mistake, so what? You end up on bottom. But competition, man, it could really mean the difference between a win or a loss.
And that's one of those points where you have to make that mental switch. You have to when you're competing, you have to make it a point to not get swept, to not deter from your goal. And mainly in competition for myself is to be on top, to stay on top.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with my bottom game, but you have to remember that there's points, and when we're training at the gym, there's no points. They're sweeping you. Sometimes you just go with the sweep, and then
Right.
work your way out and things like that's what I do a lot. But yeah, like that's one of the toughest parts is making that mental switch to like not accept the bottom position, not accept the sweep, and I made that mistake. Even when I was going over, I was like, fuck, not the hip bump, because that's exactly what we were just working, and
Yeah.
and then from there, I got to my
Just so you know, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Not the hip bump.
You feel so dumb. Such a simple basic sweep, but that goes to show that the basics work, and that's something that we always say fundamental jiu-jitsu works at any level.
That's right.
So that goes to show you that it does in fact work, but even in competition, right? But yeah, so I ended up on bottom, and from right there, I was working my half guard. I'm really comfortable with my half guard. So one of the things that helped me in this competition was mentally was knowing that if I did get put on bottom, that I was confident in my half guard to be able to sweep and come out on top. So I wasn't scared. I didn't feel like I was in any danger. And he was just really good at maintaining his balance and shutting down the scrambles. And I my hats off to him, because I tried my best, and I was like probably like 95% like there on the sweep.
You were very close
multiple times
on more than one time, like literally probably 5 or 6 times. I was like, okay, here it is. And then he was able just to shift his body. He was good at making those little minor body movements to be able to shut down your leverage that you were applying. And yeah, he was really good. He was very, very a competitive guy and very skilled. And I really liked how he started the match. Obviously, that sweep that he pulled off. He ended up in mount. Did he end up in mount? Did you get mount points too?
Yeah, he got mount points. Yeah.
So he got the mount points. So that was like a 6-point sweep. So that did put you at a major disadvantage after that. But man, you stayed in it all the way till the end. And you lost the match, right? So how were you feeling after you lost?
I was feeling a little discouraged, because I wanted to win my first one, because Coach Steve, one of the black belts that, for the viewers, one of the black belts that coaches at our gym from time to time, the person that you've trained with for multiple years. He told me that sometimes you just have to go 100% on your first match and not worry about the second one, right? Just worry about winning the first one, and then if you lose the second one, that's okay, because you gave all you had in the first one. And so that was the mentality that I kind of always go with. Just give it all you got in the first one, and to win it. And then once you win it, then it's okay, right? Because you won that first one. So once it didn't go through, I was feeling a little discouraged, but I knew that I still had another one to go. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna come back. I gotta stay mentally focused, because it's not over. I'm still fighting again. If I start allowing this discouragement to take over, then I'm gonna lose my second one too. And so I knew I still had time to make a little comeback, because thankfully in this league, they put you in a third place bracket, right? So you get multiple opportunities to continue to fight.
That's what's really cool about Jiu Jitsu World League, is that if you do lose that first match, you still are in it. You have a chance to hit the podium. And they make you earn your way there, but at least you have a chance. And I do like that about this tournament. Or this organization, because you do IBJJF and man, one and you're done.
Yeah.
Like you go in, you have a bad first match, and you just paid some money just to go get a T-shirt. Kind of sucks. Exactly. So you lost the first one. You have to regroup. And what are you thinking going into these next matches?
Well, I'm just thinking that I have to make adjustments to make sure I don't end up on bottom, and just take any advantage that I can to capitalize on their mistakes, right? And because like I said, like I had another opportunity, and I still had a clear shot to still medal. And so I go into my second match, and you can tell this guy, he's a little bit shorter, a little stockier. He came out real low, doing that typical wrestler,
he seemed like he was a wrestler, had a wrestling style of stand. I was watching his match before, and he was like a little bulldog.
Yeah, great example. Yeah, great comparison, definitely. So, and same thing, he came in, he got in on a single, and at that point, I was just like, yeah, there's no way I can sprawl. He was way too deep on my leg, so I did the next best thing was I tried to control it and then go down and try to flip him over. But he knew it was coming, and so he changed his angle, and I wasn't able to elevate him at all. Shut down that sweep. And then since I ended up on my back, he got the 2 points. But I don't know if it was because I had a point to prove, and I didn't want to lose that one as well. Or if it was just because I got my adrenaline up in the first match, and like my muscles were super warm, but he didn't feel as strong as the first guy. The strength felt manageable. He was real technical, and I was attempting a collar choke with that overhook, and he kept doing a really good job at turning into it and not letting me and flattening me out, not letting me be on my side, and then he would put his head under my chin, right? So he did a really good job at shutting that
Yeah,
down.
he was good at positioning his body as well, at least in the
Yeah.
beginning of the match. But then the match starts to shift more in your favor. Can you kind of talk about
Yeah,
that?
so kind of how I mentioned earlier, I'm really confident in my half guard, right? And so that's kind of where we ended up. As soon as I'm on bottom, I'm shooting for half guard. I prefer half guard over closed guard, just because I've been working it so much. But yeah, we ended up in half guard, and he just couldn't pass. I think he exhausted himself just trying to knee cut,
Man,
and
he was, I mean, going all out
yeah,
for these guard passes, and you could tell he was getting frustrated because you were starting to get your half guard game going to the point where, man, every move he made, you had a counter to
yeah,
it. Every time he would go to one side, man, you were able to stop him, and uh, it just started to look, at least from my perspective,
yeah.
it's just started to see that you were really comfortable where you were. So maybe you can kind
Yeah.
of, were you
So
feeling
no,
comfortable and you were feeling good?
I did feel comfortable because that's my favorite part is just that half guard, right? To kind of explain it for the non-jiu-jitsu practitioners, to me, the way I see half guard, it's like if I'm controlling the seesaw, the teeter-totter, right? They move one way and then it distributes the weight on the other side. So then I go the opposite way. Then they try to readjust, and I go the other way. And so it's just a battle of just left to right, up and down. And so that's kind of how I use my half guard. And so
Can I ask you this about your half guard?
yeah.
So are you good at half guard on both sides? Like, let's say you pull somebody into half guard, and your right leg is hooking his leg. Are you good with the left leg on the other
Mm.
side?
Oh, dude, that's a great question. You know what? Because I'm better on my opposite leg, and that's probably one of the fucking reasons why I couldn't get up because I was on the other side. I'm
Okay.
comfortable. I'm comfortable on both sides, but when I'm on my right side of my body, that's
Yeah.
that's my dominant side. And
Okay. So if
and
you're here on your right side, on your right hip, that's your dominant side.
yeah,
Because I did see you were on the other
yeah,
side of half guard, and that was, it's funny because I watch your jujitsu a lot. I'm like, man, you were doing pretty good on
yeah,
that other side, and that's why I've always
dude,
that just clicked in my head because I
yeah,
wanted to ask you that because I did notice because for me for half guard, and I'm not a big half guard player, but I do like to play on my right hip. I
hmm
do. If I'm going to go into half guard, I'm going to go to my right hip. If I go to the other side, I suck. I
yeah,
suck half guard my
dude.
other side. But you were looking
That's
good.
that's crazy. I didn't even realize that until literally right now. And you're completely right. I was on the opposite side.
Yeah.
That's not an excuse, but
But I was thinking in
but yeah,
my head, you were
you're
like, yeah,
completely
you were
right.
actually looking really
Yeah,
good on that side. I was like, dang, man. I was like, man, Nahum's really upped his half guard game because he could hit it from both
yeah,
sides, and I can't do that.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
I definitely feel comfortable on both sides, but my right hip is dominant. And dang, so
Yeah.
thanks for bringing that up because now I have to work both sides, right? Because I
Yeah.
don't know, if, to me, half guard is just such a like pleasant place for me to be now. But what's funny is that the only reason I got good at it was because I kept getting my ass beat. I kept getting forced there. It's
Yeah.
not because I just decided to one day I was gonna start working. No, like I kept getting smashed and put it there, and that
Yeah.
was my last line of defense. And so
Yeah.
now, like after what's that what's that word? Not symbiosis, or what am I thinking of?
I don't know.
I don't know, but yeah, just from repetition and just naturally getting put there so much. Now
Yeah,
it's like my
just through
favorite part.
osmosis. Yeah,
Osmosis, yeah, I
osmosis.
knew it was some
Yeah,
scientific word that,
yeah.
yeah,
Through osmosis, you kind of
yeah,
learned. Yeah, because you do look super. I'm not
symbiosis.
gonna lie. I'm
Right,
not
right,
gonna
right.
lie. So when I was watching your matches, like for me, watching you when you train, I see you in half guard. You're so relaxed and you're so comfortable there. And then I start at the tournament. I was thinking in my head, I'm like, damn, he's just too comfortable there. I want him to
Hmm.
sweep already.
Yeah,
Like, let's get back on
that's
top.
true.
And so, how are you in your head when you're down there? Because you had to work for those sweeps, man.
Yeah.
You had to work to come up. Were you just like waiting for that right moment? Like what's going on in your head? And
So
let's
yeah.
think about the timing part of it. And I think that would be really good for competitors just to know like there's a time when to attack and there's a time when
hmm
just hey, relax and wait for your moment.
Yeah, so great question, because that's one of my goals that I had set for myself, right? Um, because in the past I've just let just like the adrenaline take over and just see what like not really see what happens, because I've had goals and into missions and a game plan as well for every tournament. But I've gotten to the point now where I'm more aware mentally, even in competition. And John Danaher talks about that a lot, about Gordon Ryan, how when he competes, he's able to tell you what he was thinking in like any given minute of that match, right? Which is really unheard of, because everyone just
Mm-hmm.
goes off of instinct, right? Um, my first competition, I didn't even realize I was competing until like we were already on the floor, and I took the guy down with the single leg, and I didn't even know that I took him down. Like I just realized, I was like, oh my goodness, we're already on the ground. Okay, let's work. And that was like 30-40 seconds into the match, right? Because I was just fully adrenaline driven, like instinct driven, right? And so I made it a real goal for myself for this match to really be in it cognitively and consciously and aware, so that way I can complement my instincts with actual, like, thought. And yeah, so one of the things that I was thinking was that I had to explode, because these guys they were real strong, but also like I had to make those little adjustments to not like use up unnecessary strength, because in these matches you have to you know explode at the correct times and use strength at the correct times, because or else you're just gonna gas out. Your grips are gonna give out just because of all that intense energy and adrenaline.
That's
so
true.
so I did try my best to be smart about it. And personally, I'm really confident in my gas tank. But what I like, I feel like I'm kind of a slow starter sometimes. Whereas as the match goes on longer, then I start picking it up and ramping up, and I can go on and on and on. So like how I was telling you, the other day, I think I'd do great in a like no time limit match.
Yeah, that's one thing for sure because you don't wear out. You definitely seem like as the match goes on, you get stronger and stronger. Even the match that you lost, it seemed towards the end, if that match had just kept
hmm
going, if it was a 10-minute match, I think you would have swept him. I think
Yeah.
you would have swept him, come on top and passed.
And so to that point, once I won the first match I won, right? Um, then I feel like just my body and mind were at the perfect place. So even though even though you still get that roller coaster of emotions, because you don't know, you still have another fight. You're like still doubting yourself, and you still don't want to win. I mean, you still don't want to lose. You want to win, right? But I felt like I was at the perfect place, just physically and mentally. I got all the nerves out. I just wanted to finish it off strong. And then I think even when what you had told me, you were like, let's finish the day on a good note, right? I was like, hell yeah, let's do
Yeah.
it. Because sometimes you need like another voice other than your own, like to kind of just bring you back to the ground,
Yeah.
center you back. And so in that third match, I think I did the best.
Well, let's finish up the second one. So the second one, you actually got the sweep, and then you were able to pass,
Yeah,
and immediately turned it into a guard pass to the over, or not
yeah,
to the
like
stack
stack
pass,
pass. Yeah,
stack pass, and the sweep was clean. Just so y'all know, man, that half guard, it was a deep half guard
yeah,
sweep
it was the deep half.
that you
Yeah,
came up on, and then you passed with it. The deep half guard pass is really cool. When you come up on top, it seems like it goes nicely with the stack pass.
yeah,
And then you just went right into that and you were able to get the passing points, which is really cool. You ended up getting the victory. I think it was 4-5. You won the match.
yeah.
Yeah, 4-5. And then going into your last match.
Yeah. So But it was funny because luckily the ref knew like that I won, right? But
That's right. There was some controversy on your
yeah,
victory.
there
Right?
was. So I got the sweep points, and then I got the passing points, right? And he had just gotten the takedown points and sweep points. So he ended up getting 4 points. I ended up getting 5 points. But the ladies that were running the table, right,
They
putting
scored
the
it
points
wrong.
on, yeah, put my points on him and put his points on me. And so when the ref raised my hand, everyone was like, "Oh no, like the other guy won. Like you raised the wrong hand." And even the guy like that I competed against, he looked at it and then he came back and raised his own hand, right? Because even he thought he won because we were looking at the scores. But the ref knew that like, he kept saying that no, it was like Nahum won 5-4. And so he came to the table, had them fix it. But yeah, it was hilarious because everyone was going at it. Everyone was like yelling, and I'm just like, dude. At this point, I'm so exhausted. I don't even care. Like,
Yeah, it was kind of funny because I was arguing. There was really no reason to argue. I was arguing really with myself because the ref was
on my side. Yeah,
well, yeah, he knew who won the match, and then it was kind of funny because you just like literally walked away.
Yeah,
I don't know if you remember that.
No, yeah,
I watched you just like walked off while I'm over here. Hollering and the ref's like, "Hey man, it's all good. I'm gonna fix it. They made a mistake."
Yeah, it was funny. I was like, I fought my fight. Go now. It's your guys' turn to fight it out.
Yeah,
don't let him get away with it, coach.
Yeah,
it was pretty funny.
Good times.
But yeah, but then that third match.
By the way, for the third match, they don't do double thirds, so. You have to fight. You have to earn that gold, that third place medal.
Yeah, because they put you in a whole different bracket, and it's just the person that wins that third place bracket, But yeah, that third match, I think I did the best in that match at just staying composed and going smart instead of just like really being intense. He pulled guard and. He just kept trying to cross collar choke me, and I even told you after that match, I was like, dude, if he would have choked me out with the cross collar choke, I think I would have quit jiu-jitsu. I have no.
So basically, what you're telling me is that I was losing my voice for no reason, telling you to fight the choke.
But yeah, like he was just trying to cross collar choke me, and it's one of those chokes one of those submissions that just even though they're still effective, it's just so easy to defend when you know what's going on, right?
Very true.
So I just kept finding it. I kept composed because I knew like I can feel all the strength that he was using in his hands, and I knew he was gonna give out. Like I knew there was no way for 5 minutes he can be attacking with that cross collar choke, right? And I was just waiting for my opportunity. I waited for my opportunity, and he kept trying to kind of cut the angles to throw up submissions, but they weren't really cleanly. He wasn't really committing to the submissions because he was so fixated on that cross collar choke. And you can feel when the other person's gassing out, and that's one of the things that I really love about myself is that I have a really good gas tank, right? So I knew that if I timed it perfectly, waited for my opportunity, I'd be able to come on top. And then surely enough, I think you yelled at the same time to when I went for it, and I was kind of iffy. I was like, oh, is this the opportunity? And then like you yelled, and I was like, okay, yeah, let's go. Like this is it. So I stood up, controlled the sleeve, and then I broke the guard open from standing. And then from right there, it's just I started to pass, and I didn't get the pass points because like he last second he turned in, he got back to his feet.
Almost had pass points 2 times. And that is something that we can work on too, because there's a couple little things that we could do to finish up that nice guard break to the pass. Because, man, you were super close to getting those points, and then ends up. Where did the fight end up?
So from right there, he ended up getting to his feet.
Oh, that's right.
And what I did was I didn't let him posture up, so I reached over, grabbed with one hand, grabbed his armpit, so that way he couldn't posture up. And then I grabbed it with my other arm. I grabbed his leg, and then I just tripped him back to the side. So, but
And you almost got the takedown points for
yeah,
that. But he sat to his butt and he started to come back to his knees.
yeah,
And then the ref, well, he was super close to giving it to
hmm,
you. And he backed off. But from there, I kind of knew you were going to win the match
yeah.
because
So
you were the one
so did
doing all
I.
the action.
Yeah, so did I. I knew I won. Like from that point, and there was like 30 seconds into the match, and you know, I really wanted to just jump on the back and finish it like really, really like on like in a good way, finish it with the submission. But I'm still like traumatized from that from that last tournament I did there, where just because the rule set is like so close. And we both had 0 points, so I just didn't want to make any mistakes. So I just controlled them. I didn't let them come up. So I was really battling. I didn't know if, because internally I really wanted to just finish it like in a good way, in a great way, in jump on the back. But I think I played it smartly, because
You did.
so I controlled, didn't let him.
Because if you would have jumped on the back and then you would have lost, I would have been really pissed.
Exactly. I would have been pissed at myself too. So at that point, I just controlled them for the last couple seconds, and then the ref raised my hand. But yeah, it was interesting that there was no points on the board when I was looking, even though I knew I won, because I felt that I did the most like offensive work.
Yeah.
I thought that they were like lagging and they had just hadn't thrown them up, thrown them
Yeah.
up, because I thought I got the takedown points, for sure.
Yeah. I thought really the pass, I mean, if he would have given you the points for the pass, I wouldn't have thought that was odd. I felt like you were really close to getting the pass. When it came to the takedown, I even thought you should have got the
Yeah,
points for the takedown. But nevertheless, man, you pretty much dominated that match. And that's the thing about jiu-jitsu in competition is you can be the one that's super active. You could be the one that's really putting in the work, but the matches are still really close
yeah,
because of the way points work and whatnot. And so, uh, do you think about that? Before your matches, like, man, I can't make these little mistakes, or is your mindset, your competition mindset, just a little bit more free flowing? And how have you changed, I
yeah.
guess, over time? Maybe you can just kind of explain to maybe people who want to compete, just really the best type of mindset that you feel works for you.
Yeah. Yeah. So
And the reason why I say, let me kind of set this up too. So the reason why I say that, I
yeah,
just saw a lot of people, they go in and compete like, oh, I just want to have a good time.
yeah.
I just want to have fun. But that's really not your
That's
goal.
not that's not me at all.
Yeah. So maybe you can kind of talk a little bit about
Mhm.
that.
Yeah. So I'm the type of person that I won't even compete if I don't feel like I have the time to prepare. Right. For me, if I'm gonna sign up for the competition, I'm gonna go all in and feeling prepared, both mentally and physically. So I whenever I sign up, I always start kind of like my own little mini camp, to where like I'm consistently hitting the gym as well, working my cardio, working things in my game, on the mats. Right, I never go to just have fun, just because I'm the type of person that I don't want to lose. Right, it's obviously it's okay losing, but I don't like to lose. So if I'm gonna go in a match, it's to go in attempt to win, right? So I don't understand that ideology of going to have fun just because of my personality. I have fun winning. I enjoy competing. I have fun winning. So I'm gonna have a great time regardless. But that's not my objective. To go and have fun. My goal is to go and win,
Win. I
right?
love that. So just so you know, I am totally 100% behind that type of mindset. And I could be wrong, and maybe I am wrong about this. And I feel like it is fun to
Mm-hmm.
go and compete, but that shouldn't be the mindset. I just want to go have a good time.
Yeah.
Go there to win. Go there to apply whatever techniques you've been working on. Go there to execute a game plan. And I think maybe you can speak to this. Do you
Mm-hmm.
think people have that kind of attitude? It's just more of like a defense mechanism for if they
Yeah.
lose? Because personally,
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, I've never done a tournament. I've never competed at anything thinking I want to have a good,
Yeah.
just want to have a good time. I want to fucking win.
Yeah.
I want to go there and I want to do my best. And when I lose, I think about it a lot.
Yeah.
Like I'm not obsessed with winning. That's like the only thing in life isn't always about winning, but we call it competition for a reason, right? It's a
Exactly.
competitive environment. Why compete if the point isn't to win? And when I go into it, I go as a coach, I want you guys to win. I
Yeah.
want you guys to get the best out of whatever it is that you have. And like you had said, you're not always going to win because we had talked about like the person who won. It was really good.
Yeah.
The guy who took gold, man, that guy had a really good jiu-jitsu game.
Hmm.
So you run into somebody who's just maybe he's just whooping your ass, and maybe the point
Yeah.
now isn't so much to win. Now it's to show I got a lot of grit. I'm tough as hell.
True.
I'm gonna survive this match.
Yeah.
This fucker is not gonna submit me. And maybe it shifts from there. So maybe I don't know. What do you think? Well, what do you think about that whole mindset
Yeah.
of just like going there to have fun? Like, go ahead.
You
And
know,
I want to get your take on it.
I'm sure there are people that just love to compete and don't really care if they win or lose. I'm sure that there is those people, right? But for the most part, I believe it's just a cop out because even John Jones has said it before, right? How he used to not like train or like the week before his competition, he would just get like drunk, completely drunk, right? And so that'd give him an excuse for him to lose. And so if he lost, he'd be like, "Oh, it's because I got messed up. I got drunk last week. That's why I lost." So I believe that's the same reason why people, they just saying they're there to have fun or maybe don't prepare as much as they should because they feel like they'll be disappointed if they give all they had to prepare and then still lose, right? For myself, I'm the complete opposite. I'm gonna give my best regardless, right? Because I understand that even if I lose, that's okay. Nothing's really gonna change if you lose, right? And so I want to set myself up for failure. I don't want to use an excuse to justify my loss, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. I really do encourage people who want to compete. It doesn't matter if it's at the white belt level and you're wanting to do a grappler's X, a
Hmm.
local tournament, that you should always have an attitude like, hey, I want to go out here to do the best that I can do. And it shouldn't just be about having a good time. Yes, the experience of competing is something that is kind of cool and
Hmm.
it should be fun, but you want to add a little bit of that, hey, I want to do well too.
Yeah.
I want to be competitive. I want to go out there and give my best. It's not like, well, I just want to check this off my list. I did a
Yeah.
tournament.
True.
That I feel that way. If you want to develop a competition
Hmm.
mindset, you have to develop a mindset that I'm doing something intentionally. I'm going to go out there and try to apply my game to this individual, and whatever he or she does, I'm going to counter it by doing X, Y, and Z.
Hmm.
And the whole I'm going to have a good time thing, yeah, after you got your medal, go have a good time eating some
Yeah.
acai,
Yeah, that's true.
right? Having a good
Yeah.
meal after you go home, feeling good about what you were able to accomplish. And again, I'm not trying to discourage anybody from
Yeah.
competing. If it's something that you want to do, I would say jump in and do it. But I just think it's always best to have a plan
Yeah.
and to want to do well and to want to win. But I've had a lot of people over the years always say, well, I'm just going to go and have a good time, see what happens. And I've always kind of felt like that's just a way for somebody to kind of protect their ego a little
Yeah.
bit. Because who likes to lose?
Exactly.
And so maybe that's a good one. Like, how do you deal with losing?
Yeah.
Because I know for me, man, losing's hard.
Yeah.
I've been competing in sports since I was a little kid. I started playing baseball at like age 5. That was the first real organized sport I ever did. And I wrestled, I did football, baseball, football, wrestling,
Hmm.
basketball, eventually jiu-jitsu. I did track and field. I ran. I was always in some kind of competitive sport. And man, I always wanted to do my best. And of course, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with losses?
Well, honestly, losing it's nothing new. There's I've gone through multiple losses in life, you know, and so I have a little bit of familiarity with it. Sometimes I feel like a little bit too much, but you just have to understand that it's a part of life. It's a part of the journey, right? There's always gonna be failures. There has to be failures in order for there to be like successes. Um, in terms of jujitsu, there's always going to be someone better than you, and you've said it yourself, right? Even if you're the world champion right now, give it a couple years, like, your body's going to start giving out. There's always going to be an up and comer. So you can't always be the best, right? There's always going to be someone that's a little bit better than you. But I feel like just understanding that it's okay to lose, especially at the level where I'm personally competing at right now, or, if I'm not a professional, right? If I lose, what's really gonna change? Not, no one's really gonna care. No one's gonna view me different if I lose the tournament, right? It's not like my mom's gonna be like, "Hey, you got third place. You're not my son anymore," right? Like nothing's really gonna change. And dude, perfect example. I think it was GSP that had said that, like, no one really cares. That he was a world champion, right? And GSP is arguably one of the best mixed martial artists like ever. And I believe it was him that when he before a match he would go out and just walk around in the mall or like busy shopping centers where there's like general population of people that don't follow like martial arts whatsoever. They see you, they don't even care that you're the world champion, right? And
People don't even know who you are.
yeah, people don't even know who you are, exactly. So that that humbles you and grounds you. And I feel like hating losing, it's normal because no one likes to lose, right? Everyone loves to win. But at the same time, if you don't compete because you don't want to lose, that just says a lot about your ego. And I feel like it's okay, because at some point you're gonna end up losing regardless. What's the real loss is for you to not go out there at all and never attempt it, right?
Man, great point. And there are people I have trained with over the years who are like the sorest losers ever, even in the gym. Won't even try to do a submission because if they don't hit it, they might end up in a bad position,
Yeah.
and they don't want to have to fight out of that because maybe somebody will have an advantage over them that might cause them in their own mind to, that person got the best of me on that roll. And I feel like that is what holds so many people back in jujitsu and advancing their game. And that's something I've noticed with you is that you just don't care. You'll put yourself in whatever
Yeah.
positions, and that's going to make your jiu-jitsu so much better, so much faster. And then you get the people who are just so afraid because they never want to risk being put
Yeah.
in a situation where the other person feels like they got the best of
That's
them.
true.
Terrible mindset to have. So if you're talking about just a growth mindset in general, I feel like you got to put yourself in dangerous positions. And I don't mean like dangerous positions that are going to harm your life, but you got to put yourself in dangerous positions in the sense that man, maybe your ego is going to be bruised a little bit. And I'm with you, man. I've taken a lot of losses in life. I feel like, man, life is beating the crap out of me sometimes. But I've always looked at it like this, like, okay, so this didn't work out for me, but there's going to be something else that opens up, or I'm going to learn a lesson from this. I'm going to get something from what happened, something I didn't succeed at, or something I feel like I failed at even, or I didn't do the best that I wanted to do. Man, I'm going to get something from that, and some other door is going to open up for me. And I feel like, man, that's the type of mindset to have. I don't know what's going to happen from this, but I'm going to take something good from
Yeah.
it. I don't know what do you think of
No,
what do you think of that?
you hit the nail on the head. That's completely right. That's the way I view it as well. Always looking for the silver lining for sure.
Yeah. And I always tell people, and I'm just telling people now, if you really want to grow in life, and I'm not saying that that's the whole point, but our podcast is about developing a growth mindset. It's about, dealing with all the BS that we have to deal with in life. And of course, how jiu-jitsu relates to that. And if you want to get ahead, you have to be willing to take chances. You have to be willing to take chances, and you have to be willing to accept losses.
Yeah.
If you're just so afraid of not succeeding, or you think that, man, I just don't think I can do that, or if you have that self-doubt, the imposter syndrome, all those things, because we were talking about that before
Mm-hmm.
we set up for the podcast, and we can kind of get into imposter syndrome. If you can't just overcome those things, it's going to be so hard to be able to get to the places that you may want to get to.
Exactly.
And I feel like that's held me back at times where I have felt maybe that fear of failure and not being able to succeed at certain things. But when I've been able to overcome that,
Mm-hmm.
that's when I feel like I've done my best in life.
Yeah.
Even when I feel like I've been, man, just beaten down by life, if I just don't allow myself to get too comfortable there and just look for whatever, man, opening there is, there's always going to be
Yeah.
something positive that will come from those situations. And I know that the fear, imposter syndrome can get to
Mm-hmm.
people at times. I don't know. What's your,
Yeah.
you ever have struggles with imposter
Oh,
syndrome?
definitely. I struggle. I struggle with that on a daily basis, kind of thing, because you know, especially well, like let's say in jiu-jitsu, right? Right now that I'm coaching the fundamentals class at the gym, helping
Yeah.
out with the kids class. Sometimes you think like, well, I just got tapped out like yesterday. Like, am I even good enough to be teaching, right? The new people, but it's all in your head, right? It's really the those things, they're there for a reason. Like especially like when you're faced with competing or not. So from my understanding, I can be wrong, but from my understanding, it's a defense mechanism to keep you out of danger, right? So obviously, once you know you're going to compete, you get that little fear, and it's because instinctually, or um, your it's your mind, your nervous system, like that fight or flight mechanism coming
Yeah.
in.
Our evolutionary biological
Exactly.
wiring kicks
Yeah.
in.
And it's just what your mind's just telling you, so that way you don't engage in that potential like harmful situation, that potential
Yep.
dangerous situation. So once you understand that it's kind of just a smoke screen, just so you don't engage, then you can overcome them pretty easy, right? Because a lot of like professional fighters, they say that they still get this to this day. Every fight, they still get the same emotions, that same roller coaster, because how you said, it's evolutionary. We're hardwired to protect ourselves from being in danger. So when you understand that those feelings, those emotions that you get, they're gonna be there regardless, just because it's your body trying to protect you from engaging in these things, right? Then you can overcome them pretty easy. And I think
I
it's this.
love that, man. I never really kind of broke it down like how you just broke it down,
Yeah.
but I think that's a really good way of looking at it, of just saying, hey, this is a natural reaction
Mm-hmm.
that I'm going to have, feeling that fear, that fight or flight syndrome that's built into all of us,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, that's going to happen, and I'm going to be comfortable with that. I'm going to push through it.
Yeah. And with the imposter syndrome, I feel like it's completely the same thing, because at the end of the day, you don't want to look dumb, because looking dumb, it's such a like fear for everyone, right? For myself as well. You don't want to look dumb. And so that imposter syndrome starts to kick in, because you don't want to make a mistake and then be called out on it and then be embarrassed, right? So it's kind of the same exact thing. It's just
Yeah.
like one of those things that, they come up in your mind on a day-to-day basis, but they don't really mean anything. It's kind of just a little smoke screen to protect your ego.
Yeah. And
So
then going back to what GSP was saying, how he'd walk around the mall, nobody cares about
yeah.
who he is. It's like nobody gives a shit. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's the biggest thing. If you are listening to this, we worry so much about how other people
Mm-hmm.
are going to look at us, and that holds us back.
That's
And
true.
what we have to realize, that even if you fail, even if, let's just say, you do something that is stupid,
Mm-hmm.
do you think people think about that all that much? Do you think people are going to like be concerned about you and the stupid
Definitely
thing that
not.
you did? No,
No.
because people are too caught up in their own worlds
Yeah.
and the stupid shit they're doing. They're in
Exactly.
their own heads like, "Oh, I did this.
Yeah.
I'm dumb. I shouldn't have done that."
Mm-hmm.
We get so caught up in thinking that other people are so worried about us.
Yeah.
But the reality is when you compete, it's about you. It's
Yeah.
about what you're trying to get from it. Nobody is looking at you and just like so fixated
Mm-hmm.
on your competition. We want you to win. We're going to be supportive of you. We're
Yeah.
going to help you get ready. But if you don't win, nobody's thinking
Exactly.
anything. Nobody's going to look at you differently. But it is interesting how we are hardwired to kind of feel that way, and for the fear to get the best of us, and the nerves and whatnot. Is there any advice that you give to people who are dealing with that?
Yeah. My best advice is to just do it anyway. You know, being scared. It's like we were talking. It's the completely normal. Everyone goes through it. But that's where courage kicks in, right? Being courageous or being brave, it's not like not feeling fear. It's just still doing the action regardless of being fearful. So I say just do it anyways, because once you're out there, especially in competing, once I step on the mat, like those emotions go away. You know, the day of the drive leading up to the competition, I'm feeling nervous and anxious. Start to feel self doubt. But once I get on the mat, like that goes away, and then now you're just worried about not getting submitted. And that's one of the great things about jujitsu, about life, about understanding your own emotions is that, like, you know once you're actually practicing the art, everything else goes away. And that's the same in the gym. When you're training, you're defending that choke, all the BS goes away. Same thing in a competition, all the nervousness goes away because you're just trying to win, trying to
Does.
survive in there. So it's the same exact thing, um, in the competition versus in the gym, just at a maybe more intense level.
Yeah, it's like times two, times
Mm-hmm.
three, maybe even a little bit more. But yeah, that's a great way of looking at it. And I like the idea of having courage as well. Doing a sport and a martial art like jujitsu, I think is hard for some people because it's a team sport because you need people to help you do
Mm-hmm.
it, but it's an individual sport
Yeah,
in the sense that when you're going against another person, coach can't go out there and pull the person off
that's
you.
true.
You have to be the one to create space, get back to guard, sweep,
Yeah.
do all the submitting, and there's nobody really assisting you. I can scream whatever technique out to you or tell you, hey, do this and that. But at the end of the day, you have to do it.
Yeah.
And with team sports, it's a little different. Is that if you don't win, you could still do well. You maybe played your role well,
Mm-hmm.
and you could always kind of put it off on somebody else. You kind of hide
Yeah,
in that tribe, if you will.
that's true.
And so I think that people who do train, if you are into jujitsu, you do have a lot of courage, and you
Mm-hmm.
should always tell yourself that you had the courage to walk to the door. And if you're training past a year, it shows that you have some guts.
Yeah.
And I do have a lot of respect for people who stick out jujitsu because it does show that you have courage and fortitude and toughness and grit and whatnot. And I think a lot of people who quit doing it, not everybody. I feel like some of these people, I think it's just that it's too hard.
Mm.
Jiu-jitsu is just too hard for them. And so if you are in the gym and you're able to
Mm-hmm.
train past 6 months a year, never think that you can't compete.
Yeah.
Never have that attitude like, oh, I'm not a competition person. I never want to do it because I just don't see myself like that. Trust me, if you're able to survive
Yeah.
at a competition gym or any type of regular jiu-jitsu gym, doesn't have to be a competition gym. And I'm not saying that our gym is a competition gym because it's not.
Yeah.
Our gym is an everything gym. We have people compete, people who are just coming in to have a good time and get in shape. But if you can survive more than 6 months, trust me, you can
Mm-hmm.
compete. Do you
Yeah.
agree with that?
No, I definitely agree. Sometimes we forget that, we're competing against humans and, and not supermen. So they're feeling the exact same way we're feeling. We just that not everyone shows it. And some people, you might think that they're the most confident people in the world, but they can be having a panic attack in their head. They're just calm and collected. They know how to manage it, right? And so that's one thing that I've learned remember is that, my competitor, he's feeling the same way because he doesn't know who he's competing against, right? So then once you humanize it and not put your competitors on a pedestal, then, it makes it that much easier to overcome.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I'm just curious, uh, when I, as a coach, from the coach's perspective,
Hmm.
okay, so when I'm coaching people who are competing and I see them in the gym and how they train in the gym, and then what I've noticed is that when they get in a competition setting, all of a sudden something could just completely go haywire for the person,
Hmm.
and they can turn into a completely different jujitsu fighter. And it is interesting to see how people react to that pressure of a competition.
No.
Is there anything that you've learned about yourself through competing in jiu-jitsu that you didn't know that was inside of you?
Honestly, I've learned that I'm just a chill guy. Honestly, like that little meme, I've learned that like whether I'm competing or not, like I'm able to just regardless enjoy it. Whether I'm getting smashed in a competition or smashed in the training room, I enjoy it all the same. So that was one of the things that I thought was gonna be an issue because I never knew like uh, um, what like it meant to have like that alter ego, because a lot of people have like the alter ego, right? Especially like in fighting, they have nicknames and then they turn into
Oh,
that
oh
person.
yeah.
I feel like I'm like exactly the same, and I've never been able to just change my brain and not be someone I'm not, regardless of the situation. I feel like that's one thing that was surprising about myself was that mentally, physically, or not, maybe not physically, because you have to be more intense, but like mentally, I'm the same. Nothing really changes for me when I'm competing. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm still experiencing
No,
it.
I
I'm
think
still
it is a good
developing as a
thing.
as a competitor, but I have noticed that.
I think it is a good thing. And I have noticed that with you. You are, well, one thing I do like about you, and I like this about all people, is when you're just the same in all
Hmm.
situations. And I don't feel like I'm good at that. I feel like sometimes I I'm not always at my, I struggle sometimes to
Hmm.
be at the best that I want to be in all situations. And a lot of that comes from just my own insecurities and fears that I have and whatnot. And I have noticed that it seems like you've really done a good job of just being who you are.
No.
And it shows even in competition. And I think maybe with some people, that's what holds them back, is that they're just not willing just to put themselves out
Hmm.
there. And I think you've freed yourself up. You've been able to free your mind up so that way you can just go out there and be yourself
No.
and just let yourself, go out there and do what you know you can do well, with the intention to win, with the intention to do well, to medal, to hit the podium, to get a gold medal, whatever it is your goals are,
Hmm.
uh, without letting the little things kind of hold you
No.
back. But it is interesting though, because there's some people when they do compete, and I'm going to bring Mel up. I hope Mel's going to listen to this.
Yeah.
So Mel, if you're listening to it, just so you know, we love you.
Definitely.
His first competition was awesome, and because in the gym he's just
Hmm.
he's chill. He's really
No.
really chill. He goes really hard and he's very aggressive and whatnot. But then when he competed, this other Mel came out. this, I could
That's
not
funny.
slow him down. Were you there for that tournament?
I was there, but I was competing as well,
You
so
were.
I didn't get
That's
to watch
right.
him.
So yeah, he ended up
Yeah.
breaking his hand. He ended up just gassing himself
Hmm.
out in the first match, and he was like dominating these matches.
No.
But he went so hard, so much energy and so much force that he ended up hurting himself for one, and then he ended up just completely gassing himself
Hmm.
out. And so that is a big thing with people when they do compete, because it is that next level. But you just never know. I never
No.
thought Mel was gonna Go Mel.
Yeah, go Mel. That's
Yeah.
true.
And then it's funny because I talked to Mel's mom about it, and then she's like, Coach, you didn't know, huh? That was in him. And I was like, no, I didn't know.
That's
I didn't
funny.
know that. But Mel, if you're listening to this,
Yeah.
I do believe in you. I believe in your
Heck yeah.
jujitsu, and I think that you should compete again
Of
too.
course. Yeah.
Yeah. And so,
I'd love to watch. I would love to watch the Mel come out,
yeah.
but in a smarter way this time.
Yeah,
You know.
we'll help you Mel with your with
Definitely.
that part of your
Yeah.
personality, because it is interesting when you see somebody's real self or a portion of their social self come out. And I'm a sociologist, and so we talk a lot about the social self, and then when are you truly being you?
No.
And I do feel like competition will truly bring who you are out.
No.
And so if you really want to get in touch with that side of who you are, because we're always putting on impressions for
That's true.
people. We go to work and we want to be professional. And I often ask myself, well, man, when am I really truly being me? Because there's times when I go to work where I'm not happy to be there, but I'm not going to show my students
No.
that I'm not happy to be there. I want them to get the best out of their education. And I think about how I want to deliver the best lecture possible. I really do. I think about that every single time I teach. But there's some days where I don't feel very good. Maybe I have a headache or I have allergies or whatever, and I'm not
Yeah.
at my best. But I'm not going to try to let that overtake what I'm doing, and I try my best to do what we call impression
Yeah.
management. But with competition, I feel like all that gets thrown out
Yeah.
the window.
In your personality, do you feel like you get really high highs and really low lows?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do. I feel like I am not. I can be really high. I
Mm,
can be really low, and I've struggled with that my whole life.
got it.
And I feel as though, like with somebody like you, who I see is just very even
Yeah.
kill and balanced, you're kind of going like this, or you just have that nice balance about you. I've struggled to find
Mm,
that in my life, and I'm not ashamed to say that. I'm in my 50s, and it's something that is just part of my
yeah.
personality, and I've just come to accept that. But I've also recognized it's something that not I don't accept it in that that's who I am.
Hmm.
I accept it in that's who I am, and it's something I have to work on.
Yeah.
So I don't accept it like that's who I am. I can't do nothing about it. I just accept it as like this is kind of maybe how I'm wired, but just because I'm wired that way doesn't
Hmm.
mean that I have to be that way. It means that I have to work on it.
Yeah.
And that's what is good about competition too, because it forces you to work on things that maybe you don't want to work on.
That's
If you
true.
want to get good at competition, you can't. Like for me, I had to have to work really big on like the nerves, like controlling my
Hmm.
nerves. Maybe some people don't have to work on that as much, but for me, it's
Yeah.
man, I've always get really nervous, and I'd always have to really just do a lot of breathing. I'd have to really warm up. Like some people don't warm up much
Yeah.
when they before they compete. For me, any jujitsu competition, I'd be doing burpees.
Yeah.
I would really want to get my heart rate up as high as I could get it. And that helped me control my nerves. And I think that's something, a good advice for people. So what works for
Hmm.
Nahum
Yeah.
and works for Dr. B isn't going to maybe work for somebody else.
Yeah.
You have to find what works for you to get ready.
Yeah.
Because I would be outside, people would be telling me not to do it. They'd be like, dude, why are you doing sprints?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be outside doing sprints and people are like, no, don't do that. Why are you
Yeah.
doing that? I'm like, this works for me.
That's true.
This
And
gets me ready to
that
go.
that's a great point because like I'm gonna use a John Danaher coined term
Yeah.
as a general rule, but like all jokes aside, as a general rule, like you should always warm up before competition, right? Because
Yeah.
it helps with that big adrenaline dump. So, but the way each person gets warm is completely different. Some people just need like 5-10 minutes and they're warmed up. They're already like they get through that like sweat break. And some people like like yourself, how you just mentioned, you need really like intense warm up in order
Yes.
to get to that like that phase where you are warmed up. I don't I think I'm somewhere in between, you know.
Okay.
And I hope someone from Jiu Jitsu World League organization watches this, because I went to go warm up and I was looking for the warm up mats and there was none whatsoever. So like, what's up with that? I really want to know what's up with that, because that kind of threw me off. I had to like stretch on this hard ass floor. I wanted to do some drills, but there was no mats whatsoever. So like I had to warm up with just doing burpees, push-ups, and I brought a jump rope. So that's how I warmed up. But yeah, like hopefully there's warm up mats next time. JJWL, please. They're important. I don't
Think
know.
about your competitors.
Yeah.
Got to have a little warm up mat.
Because it's not like they're not making money off of the tournaments.
Man,
Like,
that tournament was sold out.
yeah,
Man, I could only imagine what they're bringing in.
exactly.
Yeah. Well, we got some questions from the audience here, and I really like this one. I want to get your take on it. So, how do you balance the fear of losing with the excitement of competing?
Yeah. For that one, I think is just a viewpoint, right? So if you're too fixated on losing, you're probably gonna lose. You're probably not gonna allow your body to be in the fight and to give yourself an opportunity to win, because all you're focused on is not losing, right? And but I feel like just a little shift in perspective is ask yourself, what if, right? If you feel like you're too scared because you're gonna lose, just ask yourself, well, what if I win? And that's actually pretty powerful. I've implemented that myself just to get over the doubt and to balance it out. Just asking yourself, what if? What if I do win? Like, what's that gonna feel like? And that changes everything.
Man, I like that. I like that. Great
Yeah.
answer. All right, so we got another question, and this is another good one. What do you do post competition to recover physically and mentally? I mean, you're pretty young, so you currently have any injuries? No injuries right now?
Just on my foot.
Yeah, you hurt your foot doing some
Yeah.
stand up. Yeah. But this is no matter what, no matter how young you are, you train 5, 6 days a week.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you need to do something post competition?
Just eat. That's it. That's it. You lose a lot. You lose a lot of water. The matches can get really intense. So having your electrolytes to just replenish, it's perfect. After this match, I was really craving candy. Those like quick carbs and the sugar. So I feel like just refeed. Just refeed your body. Don't overdo it, because then you're gonna get a stomach ache. Like I'm the type of person that I don't really eat much on competition day, just because I don't get hungry. It might be like body nerves, but I just don't want to feel full. I want to feel like nice and light. So like I don't really eat much. So by the end of the competition, when I start coming down off of my adrenaline, I get so hungry. So yeah, usually it's always just replenish the hydration, get those electrolytes in your body, and then just eat.
Yeah.
And after
A
that,
little bit of rest and
yeah,
sleep.
yeah, exactly. Just chill. Don't really do much after that. Just enjoy the rest of the day, whether you win or lose, and then yeah, just relax. Uh, Cool thing is that competitions are usually Saturdays,
Yeah.
so take the whole day Sunday. No, don't work out. Don't really do much. Just chill and relax. Sleep is the biggest part of recovery, whether you're competing or just going to the gym. So
Yeah,
definitely,
and I definitely feel as though if you do compete, let's just say you're a competitor, that reward yourself with something
yeah,
you enjoy doing too.
that's
Tell
true.
yourself, hey, after my tournament, I'm going to go to my favorite restaurant if you have your favorite restaurant, or I'm going to eat my favorite dessert, something to give yourself a little reward.
Yeah.
If that works for you, if that's something that is going to push you a little harder as well. I think that's good. I know it's not like really a post recovery type of deal, but I kind of think it is just mentally
Yeah,
competing a lot, like I know you do. It could probably get a little tiring, and you need to also enjoy a little bit of the journey
yeah,
and not be so caught up in, man, what's my next competition? You have to get yourself up, you compete, come down, rest a little, rest your mind, rest your body, enjoy a little bit of regular life, but get a good meal. Maybe it's not the healthiest meal, but it's a meal that you enjoy
Yeah.
and it makes you feel good. And then when you get back into it, you're back into it, and then you get yourself another reward
Yeah,
after.
because it may not be like dietary the best food, but
Yeah.
you do get those chemicals releases in your body, and sometimes you need that quick
Yeah.
serotonin from some chocolatey dessert or something like
Yeah.
that, to
Yeah.
replenish all the chemicals in your body as well that you lost, because that sometimes that adrenaline dump is no joke, and those dumps burn so much in your body, so many calories, so like chemicals gone. You're going through a roller coaster of emotions, and we forget that like those chemicals in our body, they can get reduced to a really drastic point as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, eating that bad food to reward yourself, it's a form of recovery as well, I believe.
Oh, I totally agree with
Yeah.
that. Yeah, 100%. After I would do a competition, immediately after I'd grab me an acai bowl,
Yeah.
and sometimes would grab another one.
There you go. Yeah,
Sometimes I would
I
do
remember
two.
one time, I was competing, and then we finished, and you bought an acai bowl, and then right after that, you were like, "All right, what are we gonna eat?" I was like, "You're still hungry?" I haven't even ate yet. I was the one that competed. What's going on there? But
I eat a lot.
in terms of, I think it's more nerve wracking being like the coach, right, versus like the competitor. Or do you feel like it's about the same? Because you've done both. You've competed
Yeah.
and like, well, now you're
To
coaching in
be
the
honest
corner.
with you, so when I was at Colette's match, I think I was telling Kill, I was getting lightheaded right before her match. It
Yeah.
was really weird because I never would get lightheaded when I would compete. Sometimes I'm more nervous for you
Yeah.
and for you guys. And for whatever reason, yeah, I was starting to like I felt my breathing was getting faster, and I was just like really into it. I had to like calm myself
Yeah,
down.
it's because you can't do anything like for yourself, right?
Can't
Dude,
help her.
have you seen that clip of? I think it was a wrestling clip, and some mother jumped in to save her son. Have you seen it? I'll try to find.
No, you gotta
I'll try to
send
find it
that's
later today.
awesome.
Yeah, like this mom, I guess she just got overwhelmed.
The
and
mother
she-
bear
yeah.
syndrome, man,
She went
kicked
in there
She's like
and
over the
yeah.
fence and everything.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I got to see that. You got to send that to me. Yeah, no, that's how I feel with you all. Like it's really weird. It's an emotional roller coaster for me. More so for me, if I lose a competition or if I don't do as well, I try to look at the silver lining. I try to take what can I learn from this, and yeah, I'm gonna think about it. If I would have done this, I would have been able to pass guard or whatever, or I wouldn't have got submitted. But with you, and it comes to anybody at the gym that competes, man, I just want you guys to do well. I don't know,
Definitely.
like I have like this really intense feeling of I just want you guys just to get whatever it is you're looking to
Yeah.
get from it. And if you don't feel like you did as well, man, it bothers me, but it bothers me for you. It
Yeah.
bothers me for Colette. And I guess that's what I want all the competitors at the gym to know. If you're listening to this, just know from the coach's perspective, I'm never disappointed in you if you lose. I'm more disappointed for you if you don't feel like you did your best. And I just want you guys to get the most out of the competitions that you sign up for.
You know,
But it is intense for me as a coach.
That's funny that you say that, because I feel like a lot of the times we don't want to disappoint you or the gym, and so sometimes
Yeah.
we like a little bit more hard on ourselves just because like, we lost, and the 7th Gen name was riding on our win type of thing, so we like build it up a little bit too much.
Yeah.
And so it's great hearing that, that it's not like you get disappointed when we lose.
Never.
Because sometimes it is like, oh damn, like I'm more upset because I wanted to win for to not disappoint our gym, and you and.
Yeah, so just let me just say it one more time. For me, I just want you guys to do well. I want you guys, not for me, man, not for the gym. It's like very personal thing for you. It's like I care. You guys cared enough to pay money to sign up for a tournament. You cared enough to come in and work your ass off. And I see the hard work that like you and Colette, because you guys you're the two that's been competing the most lately. I see the hard work that you do. And then I just get anxious for you and for her because I know that you put in all this hard work. And I just want you all to see the fruits of that. And so for me, it's kind of funny that like I said, I'll feel it biologically.
Yeah.
My body's kind of going a little haywire, but it's more because I just want you guys to do well, and I get
Yeah.
nervous for you and for her and everybody at the gym. And when I went to the last competition, I tried to turn off my brain because I didn't want to do a lot of coaching. I just wanted to let everybody else do coaching.
Yeah.
And it was hard because I had to turn off my brain and just say, okay, just go there and be a supportive person, not a coach today.
Yeah.
And, but when I'm in coaching mode, I definitely, it's hard. It's a weird feeling.
Do you feel like cornering someone in a jiu-jitsu fight actually does any difference, whether it's good or bad? You think it has some effect on it? And the reason I'm asking is because like IBJJF, they don't allow corners, right?
Yeah.
If you're gonna corner your person, you have to be behind that little barrier that they
That's right.
create. But most other organizations, they do have a little chair, or they allow you to be right there in the corner. Do you think that actually makes a difference whatsoever?
Honestly, I feel as though there's been a couple times in matches that I've seen where I'm like, oh man, good thing I was there because I was able to say, hey, just do this.
Gotcha.
I was able to holler out some instructions, or I was able to tell him to do this. And then they would listen. If they listen and they do it,
Yeah.
they end up in a good position. And by IBJJF, you're right. You have to stand behind the barrier and you can't really come close and sit. So when Kale's with me, he's got such a loud voice. I
Yeah.
can just tell Kale, hey, holler out to them, do this. Or I could tell Daisy. And I feel like it does help. And then there's some time. It depends on the person.
That makes sense.
It depends on, honestly, some people, they ain't going to listen to anything.
Yeah.
Kale, where's Kale? Kale, I know he's listening to this. So Kale, my first student, we got to get him on the show one of these times. He's gotten way better over the years, but he's had issues like listening to instructions. And it's funny because he'll holler about when he's good at hollering them out, but sometimes even with him, he doesn't listen at times. And it just depends on the individual. And sometimes he does listen. And I do feel as though it does help. And there's just times where I feel like,
So, kind of on top of that, do you feel like it's better or is it easier to coach someone that you understand their style of jiu-jitsu versus just like someone that, you're just like their coach, but you haven't like
100%.
been there enough? Yeah.
100%. Yeah. I don't feel like it does any good to coach anybody, for me anyway, to coach somebody I don't really know their jiu-jitsu because I don't know if they're top player, bottom player. I don't know how they sweep. I can say if they're in a bad situation, I might be able to say, okay, hey, start, framing, simple stuff like that.
Just like generic, right?
Very generic, just fundamental stuff that everybody should be doing. If you're getting flattened out, hey, get on your side, start to frame away. But as far as giving good advice during a jiu-jitsu match, it's a lot easier if you know the person that you're cornering. And I enjoy doing it. It's definitely fun for me. I love watching you guys compete. I can honestly say that our gym, it's small. It's a smaller gym. We don't have any big names at the gym. We have no major connection or affiliation to we're connected to Kleber because he's my coach, Kleber Jiu-Jitsu. Shout out to Kleber. Love you, Kleber, and everything that you've done for me and for 7th Generation. But we're not connected to some big, huge international organization. People don't know who 7th Generation is. And I feel as though when we go to competitions, we always show up pretty well. We always do. But it is something that I want to get better at the gym, is preparing for competitions. We've talked about that, putting together a comp team, and then really focusing on that part of the gym, which is something that I definitely am totally down to do. And I feel good about the direction that we're going in. I love the fact that you're competing the way that you're competing. And I think that you're on your way to doing some big things here with competition. And at the very least, you're going to learn a lot. You're going to learn a lot about your personality, about who you are, just how much toughness and grit that you have. And then also just like how far your jiu-jitsu has come. I look at where you were last year and where you are this year. It's like night and day. It's amazing what 12 months will do to someone's jiu-jitsu. Your jiu-jitsu is so different. Even your competition, the way that you approach it, and it's interesting that you shared the insight about how you were very intentional and you thought, this is what I want to do. I felt before when you would compete, you just went out there.
Yeah.
You're just flying around.
Exactly.
You were just using a lot of physicality and less technical.
Yeah.
And now you're more technical and you're combining that with your physicality, and that's making you dangerous.
Yeah.
Making you really, really dangerous. So
yeah, I agree. Well, not about the dangerous part. I hope that's true.
well, you're not the danger like me
like
is
Mia.
like me is the danger, but you're getting there now.
Yeah. Mia, she's one of our blue belts.
She's undefeated.
Undefeated, yeah. She hasn't been around, so I'd change her nickname to the Risk. She's the mild risk right now. She's not the danger right now.
Oh, she's the risk, Mia.
She's the risk.
You lost your moniker now. You're now the risk.
But
we'll call her the unicorn if she keeps missing, because it'll be like, we heard of this person named Mia. She was undefeated, competition, but nobody ever sees her anymore.
But yeah, in terms of what you brought up, of course I had goals in my previous tournaments. There's this, moves, techniques, submissions that you want to accomplish, right? But in terms of like where my jiu-jitsu is at now, I feel like I have a clear roadmap of what I want to do, and I have like different avenues to get there. And so that's definitely something that I was happy that I did some really good things during my tournament, and got to some positions that I wanted to get to. There's obviously a lot of refining that I still have to do, but I was happy with the results.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Well, we're coming to the end of the show, and I just want to say, for those of you who are listening to the Submission Mindset podcast, I really appreciate the support. We've already had a lot of people reach out and ask me about the show. We are on Instagram. You can tell them about where they can find us on Instagram.
Yeah, don't forget to reach out on our social medias. Our podcast Instagram is Submission Mindset. My personal Instagram is STC_Nahum, spelled Nahum. My TikTok is same thing, STC Nahum, but without the underscore. And then, our gym social media is at 7gen
BJJ,
yeah,
7gen BJJ. Reach out to us if you have anything that you want us to cover on the show in the future. Man, I'm totally open for suggestions. I love the interaction, and I really enjoy the conversations that we're having here. There's so much more to talk about when it comes to the mindset part of jiu-jitsu, and it comes to competition. And so this is just one conversation about competition. We'll come back to it.
Definitely.
I'm sure there's a lot of aspects that we've missed today, and so we're gonna definitely talk a lot about competition. But again, I just want to thank everybody for joining us. Episode 2 of the Submission Mindset, where we focus on choking out obstacles on and off the jiu-jitsu mats. Until next time, keep rolling and stay in that winning mindset. Anything you want to add here before we go?
No, you said it all. Said it better than I could have ever said it. Thanks for joining. Till next time.
Till next time, y'all. Later. And Mia, the risk. Get into the gym. No more missing class.
She's going to come at me now.
She's going to come at me too. All right, y'all. Later.
See ya.